A healthy home does more than just keep you fed, it gives you an identity. Okay. It teaches love, it builds confidence, it literally shifts the course of a generation. That is the impact of a strong family and a strong household. But who's teaching it? Who's equipping people? That is the whole foundation of a lot with this business, is equipping individuals to build a stronger family. Because if you can build a stronger family, that creates generational impact and legacy. Okay. Welcome to Pursue Her podcast, where we explore real life issues through the lens of faith and personal growth. I'm just going to say it in this episode. Our families are in crisis. And I'm not just talking about the ones we see on the news. I'm talking about ours collectively as a whole in different communities in society. We are seeing breakdowns in communication, cycles of hurts that are being repeated, and people feeling disconnected in their own homes. And y'all, this is a problem. And here's the thing, if family is the backbone of society, what happens when that spine breaks? We hear so much emphasis about the importance of families, and families are vital to communities. So in this episode, we are talking about why family still matters, what's threatening us our homes from culturally, spiritually, and emotionally, and why some cultures are hit harder than others when it comes to the family dynamics. And we also going to talk about, because we need some solutions, how we can start rebuilding what's been broken. Because when we see a problem, we are problem solvers as believers, because our God created us to be that way. So we need to create solutions to these problems. Okay. This episode is about healing. It's about legacy, and it starts with us. So first, I'm going to start with just some statistics. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, and this was taken in 2023, only 38% of Black children live with both biological parents. Hispanic children, 64% live in two-parent homes. White children, 74%. Asian children, 87%, the highest amongst all groups. Globally, the U.S. has the highest rate of single-parent households among developed countries, 1 in 4 children. Those aren't just numbers, y'all. That's real life. That's dinner tables with an empty seat. That's mamas doing it all alone and by themselves. That's dads locked out by systems, pain, or shame. So what's causing this family decline in certain cultures? Let's look at that. Mass incarceration has ripped fathers from homes. 1 in 3 Black boys born today can expect to be incarcerated in their lifetime. Y'all, 1 in 3. Economic instability is another reason. It's put stress on marriages and parenting, especially in low income and marginalized communities. Generational trauma goes unhealed and becomes normalized, and this cycle just repeats itself. And let's not ignore the role of systemic racism and policies that historically targeted the strength of Black families, from slavery to redlining to welfare structures that penalize two-parent homes. When we say that families are in danger, we've got to look at all of these forces and all of these different things that are going on, external and internal factors that's been working against it. Okay, so why do strong families matters for society? I have always had an approach of why families matter, especially from a biblical standpoint. That has always been my basis and my standards. Family, marriage is one of the first institutions that we see about in the Bible. And this is speaking to those who have a biblical worldview. If you don't have a biblical worldview, just stay with me. I'm going to get into some other statistics and some other studies as well, but you may not see it, because family is important to God as well as important to just society. So no matter what your faith is, no matter what your religion is, no matter what your belief system is, faith is intricate to society. And how do we build stronger families? And this is how it starts. We work with individuals. As we build individuals, now we can create solid families. We build solid families that impacts our communities. This impacts our worlds. This impacts societies. There is an ongoing ripple effect when families are healed and when families are whole, not just from a biblical standpoint, but in every natural standpoint that you can find. Okay, families matters to God. Family matters to society. Family matters to everything around us. Strong families will work when they're healthy and everybody wins. The issue is because we have all of these things that I said, which cause to the breakdown and the decline of families in certain cultures, nobody is sitting there and really digging with the root of the issues. No one is really there working with, I'm not going to say no one is, but there is a lack of those resources to give to those individuals to help them build their families. Families has become optional. I don't want to get ahead of myself. But according to a Harvard study, kids raised in a stable two-parent home are more likely to finish school, more likely to earn higher wages, and less likely to experience mental health issues. Okay? And the National Bureau of Economic Research found that family structure is one of the strongest predictors of upward mobility. Kids raised in two-parent homes are also twice as likely to avoid poverty, less likely to become teen parents, and more emotionally resilient. A healthy home does more than just keep you fed, it gives you an identity. Okay. It teaches love, it builds confidence, it literally shifts the course of a generation. That is the impact of a strong family and a strong household. But who's teaching it? Who's equipping people? That is the whole foundation of a lot with this business, is equipping individuals to build a stronger family. Because if you can build a stronger family, that creates generational impact and legacy. Okay. So what's threatening families today? So let's talk about what's tearing families apart. Besides the other things I talked about, but what else is it? Disconnection in the digital age. The average family spends less than 37 minutes of quality time together per day. Look at your day. I know our day gets pretty busy. Everybody is doing their own thing. You got parents at work. Some parents were working 2 jobs, 3 jobs, picking up overtime because you're trying to survive. You have kids active in their activities. You got just all these different things that happen. Less than 37 minutes of quality time together per day. We're in the same house, but not in the same headspace. Screens are raising our kids. When are you being intentional to have family time? Yeah, we may not have family time every day together. We may not be at a place, especially like with my husband's schedule, where everybody's just sitting and eating together as a family dinner. But are there set times where we're like, this is family time, or we're about to do something as a family? We sure are. I'm not going to ask everybody to put their phone down. They know when we're at the dinner table, like, no phones. I don't care if it's just the kids there for whatever reason. No, we're going to talk to each other. We're going to see what's going on in each other's lives. But there's a disconnection in this digital age. There's financial pressures which are causing issues and what's threatening families today. 60% of households report that money is a top stressor in their home. 60%. When you're in survival mode, emotional connection takes a back seat. People are struggling. Some not by choice, maybe some is for choice. Some is just that the way that life is happening, you have these mass layoffs. There's so many different things that are going on. And just like the Maslow's hierarchy, when your certain needs aren't met, you don't have the capacity to give everything else. So it still trickles down and it still negatively impacts the family household when the focus just is on, I got to make money. I got to survive, because the reality that becomes priority, because you got to have a roof over your head. You got to have food. You got to have the necessities needed to make it day by day. But this financial pressure is tearing families apart. Unhealed trauma is another reason. So many families are repeating what they never resolved just because your mama and grandma and Pookie and all of them did, or whatever your culture is, right? They're going unresolved. They're not being talked about. They've just been hidden because sometimes it's perceived that is easier to not talk about it than to deal with it. And that's not the case, because hurt people hurt people. Especially when that hurt is unspoken. There are so many things that are happening within family units, whether it's addictions, things that are being passed down, things that are being avoided, whether it's the molestation, whether it's just overall trauma, whether it's the poverty, whether it's death or grief, or again, these cycles and things that are keep happening within our families. Who will be the one to speak up? Who is going to take the step to break these generational patterns and say, Lord, this stops with me. Divorce stops with me. The buck stops here. I'm going to work on my healing. I'm going to work on my unspoken trauma so that I don't pass this down generationally. Come on now. Don't let our kids have to deal with what we didn't have to deal with, what we had to deal with, because we didn't deal with it, right? The best analogy of that to me was Wakanda, right? When T'Challa and all that stuff was dealing with it, he was dealing with the things that his dad had not dealt with. That was a perfect visualization, but it's more than just Wakanda, okay? This is real life. We're dealing with issues, we're dealing with things, and then you got one or two people within the family that's trying to work things out, and everybody's like, I don't deal with them, I don't fool with them. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. It's worth it. It's hurt. Somebody's hurt you in the family. I get it. So can we not do family counseling? Can we not do family coaching? Can we not go talk to somebody and at least try to put in the work? Because this unhealed trauma does not just impact you, and now it's going to impact your kids and everybody else. You don't talk to your sister, so what your kids going to see? Oh, my mama don't talk to her sister, so if I got a disagreement with my sibling, then guess what? I ain't got to deal with them. I ain't got to fool with them either. It's the unspoken things that our children see, and it keeps going, and it keeps going, and it keeps going, and y'all, that's not okay. Somebody has to be the person to stop this cycle. Okay. Another thing that's threatening families today is single parenting without support. Shout out to all the single moms and the single dads who are out there and they're doing your best. But let's be honest, it's not supposed to be this hard. Many people are raising their children while still trying to heal their own childhood wounds. And I get it. Some people, everybody who is a single parent was not necessarily by choice. It's not because they just weren't mindful of who they had unprotected sex with. Sometimes it's bigger than that. Sometimes you didn't even plan it. Sometimes you thought you was going to have a life with this person. Some people are single parents who were married and they end up becoming single parents because of divorce or things that have happened. And one of the parents are absent, because that could be a mom or a dad. This is not just men, right? Moms abandon and they leave families as well. But single parenting is definitely a challenge for a lot of individuals. Okay. A lot. Another thing that's threatening families today is the cultural shifts of value in value. Family used to be sacred. Now it's often optional. We got more and more people who are just willing to, and no shade. And I mean, I don't know how you feel about what I'm about to say, but you got more and more people who's willing just to go just have a kid by somebody with no relationship with them, no desire or thought of being together or creating a nuclear family or a unit. Like, you just want to have a kid, and I raise my kid by myself. I don't need nobody else. What are you doing? Why are you doing that? Where did you get that model and that value that was the way that you create a family, because you just want to have a kid? No, it's become optional. This thought process where I don't need nobody, I don't need them around. When you bring a child into this earth intentionally, and I feel it's intentionally, because if you are having unprotected sex, then you know that is a likeliness of what can happen. You need to be mindful of that. We so often, as different cultures and different sectors of our society, celebrate independence, but sometimes it's at the expense of a connection. Why are we doing this? What point are we proving? What is family matters? Family goes a long way. We don't just have family issues, we have foundational issues and foundational uh, uh, perspectives, like, that are just like, where did you get this from? And again, more than likely, it's unhealed trauma. It's repeated cycles. They've seen somebody else do it. They've come, or they're so hurt and they're so guarded, and they're like, I don't trust nobody. I can do this by myself. You can't build something solid on shaky ground. It's just not going to happen. And that is what we continue to see. And as the statistics that I shared before, it looks different in different cultures. And with Black families being at the bottom of the list in regards to, like I said, only 38% of Black children live with biological parents, compared to the Asian children, 87%, white children, 74%, Hispanic children, 64%. What is happening here? It's not okay. And it's on my heart. And it's something that I want to work on, one family at a time, no matter what the race is, because I've been working with families from different cultures, completely different cultures, with different type of issues across the board. And I thank God that He's given me the opportunity to work with clients and work with families in different avenues, to find strategies, to put things together, to provide them with resources, to provide them with support. Hey, here's some counselors, here's some coaching, here's some activities. Here, let me talk to the kid. Let's work how we work together. How do we communicate? It's step by step. Okay. So how do we rebuild and repair? What are some things that we can do? What are some solutions? This isn't about perfection. It's about being intentional. And here are some practical strategies of where we can start. Okay. For healing your family. Maybe you may be one where you've been tugged at it and you realize there are just things happening within your family dynamics, that you just like, this is just not right. I need you to prioritize presence over perfection. Put the phone down sometimes. Make eye contact. Let's start with that. Start with family dinners. Maybe you can't do it every night because everybody's scheduled. Maybe you can't do it once a week, but every 2 weeks, Can it be planned? I don't care if nobody in the house know how to cook. I don't care if it's your Wendy's. If you got a biggie bag, if that's what everybody's eating is a biggie bag, bring it home or sit in Wendy's. And that be your uninterrupted time. That is a family dinner time. Start putting these things in place. Bedtime check-ins before the kids go to bed. A parent's going to do a check-in. It's these little nuggets. It's these little things. Prioritize present over perfection. You're not present when you're sitting on your phone. This isn't being present just because you're in the same room, because this is taking your attention. You can feel the shift. There's a total difference when there's multiple people sitting on the couch and everybody's watching TV. And it feels totally different when everybody's on the couch, the TV is on, and then people are each on their phones. There is a disconnection because you are no longer mindful of what's going on around you. You cannot sit here and say, I am multitasking. No. No, put the phone down sometimes. All right. Next thing that we can do to work on this, talk it out, not tear it down. Use your I feel statements, use proper communication strategies and skills. And this is something that most people aren't taught. So this may not sometimes be something you can easily do if you don't really understand it and no one's there to navigate or facilitate those conversations. I have been fortunate to facilitate family conversations where I'm there to actively, in the middle of a family dispute per se, to talk it out. So, hey, what did you just hear them say? And use those strategies in I guess you could say right in action, right? That one's sometimes a little easier said than done if you have not learned how to control your emotions enough to use your I statements to put your strategies in place. But let's try those. I feel this way. I feel disconnected when this happens. Can we work on this? Okay. I need you to make space for emotions and not just correction. Ask, like, why you always on your phone? Hey, babe, is it okay if you put your phone down today? I really want some undivided attention. That's totally different. Let's work on that though. Okay. Another thing, start with your own healing. You want to heal your family? Because everybody else ain't the problem. Start with your own healing. That's why I know I specifically work individually with women. There's been different cases where I've worked with men, but work with women with starting their own healing. Therapy, prayer, journaling, whatever your path is, I need you to take it. You never realize or understand some of your own childhood trauma that is there. And you don't even realize you just been moving. You've considered yourself to be resilient, but you just built all type of walls up. And you just going because that's what life has called for you to do. And depending on your culture, right? A lot of different minority women, you just got to do it. You got to be strong. You got to go. You got to work. And it just becomes your nature. It's just embedded in you. But that does not mean that is a healthy way of moving. That doesn't mean that it is a healthy way of handling situations. You can't lead a family from an unhealed place. You can't. It's not going to happen. It's not going to work. It's not going to be sustainable. Back to what I said, you can't build a foundation on a shaky ground. Okay? It's not going to work. So I need you to start your own healing. Next, I need you to redefine what family can be. Blood isn't the only bond. Okay. Now, of course, definitely won't want you to work on your blood family. Now, there are so many different scenarios. There's so much strain from different things you do. There are people sometimes in family where they don't want the healing. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to figure it out. And you guys have just learned to cope with not being together. I get that. In those situations, I do believe in the power of prayer and praying that God will be able to soften the other person's heart so that there comes a time and an opportunity for you to mend. That doesn't mean the relationship may be exactly what it used to be before, but we get to a place where there's no beef. Can we be in the same room for the sake of the family unit so that people ain't got to decide who house you going to for a holiday or for a Sunday dinner or whatever the case it is. So redefine what family is going to be. God might be sending your family, whether it's through friends, mentors, or sometimes spiritual connection too. Look at that. There's different dynamics of that of what people consider family. But I do spend a lot of time focusing on your blood family. All right. Those generational things, the people that you didn't pick to be your family, but God picked to be your family. There's a reason for that. There's a connection and there's worth the work to do in some of those situations. I get it. If some of those are completely unhealthy, you have learned to remove yourself because you've had to, where there's manipulation, there's all type of different things that can happen within blood family. But Keeping that in mind, redefine what family can be as a whole. Choose grace over shame, okay? Celebrate effort, not perfection. When you see someone in the family that is trying to do something, they're trying to put things in place, okay, appreciate that. Don't tear it down. Don't break it apart. Apologize when needed and forgive a lot faster. Some of these grudges are necessary. It's not at all. And sometimes apologize if you said something wrong, if you've done something wrong, if you offended someone in your family. And parents, sometimes that's apologizing to your children. You made them feel some kind of way. You came home, you all stressed, you got the financial pressures, and now you flipping out on your kids and you just like, oh, well, they'll get over it. No, we're causing some trauma here. When we do that, we have to be mindful of that. You have to follow up at times. It's necessary. Create homes where people feel safe, not judged. Creating that safe space can be very challenging, especially if you do not agree with the decisions that your children or your spouse are doing. And this is where honest communication is needed. Okay, so how do we come to a compromise? This is what you want to do, but I don't really agree with that. So how do we work together? Those conversations are necessary. Home should be a safe space for every person. And that may look differently. That looks different, but you got to have conversations. You don't have to be a perfect family, but you do have to show up every day, every season, because that is where the healing begins. Let's start, y'all. If you don't hear nothing else today, I need you to hear this, that family still matters. No matter what society has told you, no matter the other people that you have made like your extended family per se because of what you dealt with, family still matters. And even if you didn't grow up in a healthy one, you can start one. You can repair one, and you can be the one who shifts the narrative for the next generation. Okay, so here's your challenge. I want you to reach out to someone in your family today, not to correct them, not to tell them what they did wrong, but just to connect. Ask them how they're doing, say you love them, just start a conversation. How about that? Keep it real simple. We ain't got to pull up the triggers or whatever the case it is. Reach out to someone you haven't spoken to in the past 2 weeks. Okay, reach out and start that, because when families heal, everything around them gets better. Schools, neighborhoods, cities, our communities, every sector, it's catastrophic in a good way of what can happen when we repair and we heal families. And the enemy knows that. And that's why there's so many things that are going and taking place to try to destroy families. When we see the marriage and divorce and the discord between siblings and the discord between parent and child relationships. No, 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 no. If you want to see your child thrive, provide them with a safe home, provide them with a family, do the work, heal the trauma, work through the things that you need to work through to create that healthy environment and to create that healthy family. Because guess what? Families matter. They're going to continue to matter. That was a part of God's original intent and his plan and his purpose when he created family, when he created marriage. That was a part of the cycle of how things are supposed to go. So just because it's gotten hard and challenging doesn't mean we stop. That means we put solutions and we put things in place to make sure that we keep our families as solid and as healed as possible. Okay? So do your part. That's all you can do. You can't control nobody else. Do your part. Reach out to somebody you haven't spoken to in the past 2 weeks. Just say, hey. All right. Until next time, I want you to continue to pursue her, being heroic, empowered, and resilient. Take care.